Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon has been sentenced to 4 months in prison, ordered to pay a $6,500 fine for his contempt of Congress conviction. If you haven't been following this closely, let me just kind of give you the broad strokes. Bannon was found guilty of contempt over the summer after he reportedly ignored a subpoena from the House committee investigating the January 6 attacks at the Capitol. The judge allowed Bannon to remain free pending his appeal. If he chooses not to appeal or loses the appeal, he will be expected to surrender by November 15th. Bannon addressed reporters as he entered the court, and he said, "Remember, this illegitimate regime, their judgment day is on 8 November when the Biden administration ends." Prosecutors wanted 6 months and got 4, and he could have been fined $200,000, but he was fined $6,500.
I'd like prison to work incrementally. Like, I don't like the 4 months. You either get 6 or you get nothing.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I don't need the
Split the difference.
guy in there for 5 weeks.
Yeah. What about when they go? He's received 3 life-term sentences.
Yeah, unnecessary.
Yeah.
What do you bring 2 friends in with you? Get out earlier.
Your corpse has to stay in there for another 100 years. Yeah. I like when they get 7 or 8. Or
Yeah.
They should just go, we're going to give you 1. I know you killed 10 people, but we're just going to give you the 1 life sentence, and it was the one who we like the most, who's now dead.
Potential.
Sorry, grieving families.
Do you want to do
Make the
10
cut.
years in this prison over here, or do you want to do 1 year at Rikers? What would you like? That'd be a good choice.
Didn't they give Kiefer Sutherland that kind of choice? Remember, it was like a shorter term at Twin Towers in downtown Los Angeles or a longer term in like Pasadena. Remember
White collar
that?
crime kind of thing?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Because I feel like the Twin Towers is like more overcrowded and it's like scarier. I don't think I'm making this up from whole cloth.
Steve Bannon's a guy you should do a caricature of. I feel like that would not be
Already
flattering because he is there now. Once,
He is a caricature.
Yeah, once the pen fires up. Yeah, you know what? And just in general, he's got 7 to 9 years, but with the 60% sentencing clause, he only has to do 60% of the 70. Let's just give a number. We'll stick to it.
And with good behavior and good hair, he'll be out in 2.
And by the way, let's just assume the behavior. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the good behavior. Oh, so you didn't stab a guard, so now you're going to get out 3 years earlier?
It's like when somebody is mean all the time and just not a nice person, but then when they're nice, 1 second, everybody gets excited. Hey, he was really nice to me. He's got that side of him.
Yeah.
No, he's a mean guy.
He's acting like a decent person.
Yeah.
I don't accept a lot of excuses for mean people is, well, that guy's miserable.
Yeah.
It's just like, fine.
It's not a bad day.
Yeah, fine. Understood. He's miserable, but now he's making everyone around him miserable.
Go be miserable at home.
So knock it off.
One time there was this woman in line at Starbucks, and I guess I didn't see her, and I went up to the thing. She was like, "Excuse me, I'm in line," and then she got kind of ornery, and I said to her on the way out, I said, "I'm sorry you're having a bad day." I am too. He goes, "No, I'm not having a bad day. I'm not having a bad day."
Boy.
Wow.
So I don't take that approach anymore.
You don't.
No, I don't fall into that trap.
No.
No.
Can't tell anyone what kind of day.
No, I just push them aside and walk over them.
That's good.
With my chai latte.
And when you're tall, you can do that.
Yeah.
Just step right over them.
I had a makeup artist ask me yesterday. They do a lot of having a good day, and I don't really have much to compare most days to, other than the day before, the day after. They're all sort of basically the same.
Yeah.
But I always say good. You know, I don't like when the people do the I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like just say doing great, fantastic. How
the
about
worst
you?
is when you go to somebody. How you doing today? We'll see. We'll see. Or or if you ask anybody over 70 how they're doing, you'll get into a whole medical conversation.
Yeah, don't do that.
You want to stay away from the negative people. I like positive people. When I see an adult wearing braces, I smile because I know they have hope for the future.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And
I mean,
mostly gay. If an adult male.
Is that true?
Wearing braces.
I think you're just thinking of the movie Magnolia when William H. Macy's playing that.
They're 42-year-old heterosexual dudes. They're done. They're done with their teeth out of high school. No,
What about the Invisalign? Do you support that on people?
the Invisalign?
Is it called Invisalign?
Yes.
I think my kids have that, or at least my son
You think
does.
your kids have it? Who
I don't
takes
know.
care of your kids?
We got Nan.
She takes them to the orthodontist and stuff.
Yeah.
I think my kids go to school. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think
People
they
have
do.
this thing with work. I have to explain to many people in my life, I work like all day. Like I work, like people they'll go like people had jobs when I was a kid, and there's no way I would have said to my dad in 1977, hey, I have a high school baseball game at 1:30 in the afternoon. Could you swing by the high school? It'd be like I wouldn't ask because he's at work.
How would that happen?
He has to go to work. People went to work. They came home at a certain time. I'm sort of that way too, but we've thrown the schedules out the windows. Like it's this sort of free-form schedule where they can just show up and be places and take the kid to the Invisalign.
I say this sometimes in my act. They say, I bet I'd be a really good dad if I was home more with my kid.
But I don't like that your kids aren't in erector sets. That's what you're supposed to be in when you're a teenager.
It's a rite of
Big,
passage.
giant braces.
Yeah.
That's what you have to have the bands.
The rubber bands.
Maybe some headgear. I don't know.
Well, the headgear was always an interesting choice because we never
I knew one kid
couldn't
with headgear.
afford, straight teeth. But the choice was headset to school or headset at night.
Yeah.
I think that was it. And I've always thought it was interesting, the ones that chose the school headset versus the
Sleeping.
in your own bedroom headset.
Yeah.
I guess they were, face sleepers or something. But there was a few of the headsets in my
Yeah.
in
Did
my
you
school.
ever, as a kid, did you sleep on your stomach?
Yes.
Me too. I stick my stomach, my head turned to the left, once in a while to the right, never directly into the pillow.
Yeah.
But now it's mostly I'm just a side sleeper.
Are you?
Yeah.
Good.
Because I get that sleep apnea if I'm on my back. I
Yeah.
would go,
Yeah. I will definitely snore it up. Although I wish I was a back sleeper. That's the best way to
man,
sleep.
That's the best. Except for you got to watch out for the spiders.
They crawl in your ears.
And your
No,
mouth.
not in the ear, in the mouth. They say the average person, I think, consumes 6 spiders in their lifetime, just crawling in.
Really?
Yeah.
I just do it all in the same night. Get it over with.
Home free for the rest of your life.
Yep. Now I can sleep with my mouth open and not have a care in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
How many
Really?
insects do you think you've eaten, including apples, worms, and apples?
Well, if you're going to include apple worm, now it's a completely different calculation. I don't think I've consumed any worms and apples, although I'm not a big apple guy. I got to be honest with you. But
I took you for an apple guy, no?
I'm a nectarine guy.
Oh, nectarine, nice. A little citrusy stuff. Well, when we were younger.
But I mean, insects ground up in food that I've eaten. It's
endless. Hot
It's got to
dogs.
be endless. Yeah.
What is it that some kind of a color they put in something is made from some beetle, redness or something. But, when we were all like 18, 19, 20, and you went to Mexico, you got the tequila with a little worm at the bottom. And
Yeah.
that was the thing to drink,
That was your
drink
goal.
it and get the worm out of there. I never did that, but some people,
I've done it.
you have?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so there's some insects you got going in there. That's
Yeah.
Not, is that an insect? A worm?
No.
It's
A grub.
it's a worm, but it's kind of a caterpillar.
I feel like it's
And it was
it's a
called,
bug.
we've gotten to the mezcal debate before, but that was called mezcal tequila, that
Back in
kind
the day.
of thing with the, it sort of looks like a little caterpillar,
Yeah.
not a worm like
Yeah.
an earthworm.
Got a shell on it, sort of. And
It's not smooth. It's got little
it's a little
feet and
crunchy.
stuff.
It's a little crunchy,
No.
and you have to watch out for the bones.
No, but yes, we've gotten. We used to go to Tijuana on a semi-regular basis, and we would get a bottle of that tequila, which I think was called mezcal tequila,
you're
with
right.
the worm in the bottom of it, and then we would hang out in bars and strip clubs and stuff like that.
You think it's bad for person drinking the worm, but how do you think it is for the worm when the worm is going downstream and he sees teeth and a tongue getting ready to swallow him?
Yeah, you should
He's
see the
probably
look
wasted
on my
by then.
worm's face. Is it? What is that worm? We say the worm, but it doesn't.
Is
It's
it
like a pupa.
It doesn't really look like a worm, at least in the bottles
No.
that I've
It's
drink.
old. It looks like it's been sitting in there for a long time, kind of crusty.
Pickled.
It looks like
gusano?
when you take it out and dry it out, a butterfly is going to jump out of it. It looks more like a cocoon.
That's right.
A magui worm.
Oh, now it sounds good.
Yeah. They and there's a lot of I think there's a lot of T-shirts that said like "I ate the worm" on it or whatever. Yeah. Speaking of eating, at the Unicorn Strip Club, strippers would come out and they'd put their foot up on the table, and guys would bury their face down in the stripper's
foot?
crotch.
Oh,
Eat a worm?
Wow.
Yeah, there was worm eating going on in that place. Yeah.
Do you
It's
know I
crazy.
stayed at a hotel at a gig in San Diego? This hotel, I go into the room. I kid you not. There was a king-size bunk bed that was held up by chains. King-size bunk beds. And at the end of the bunk bed was a stripper pole.
Wow.
fun.
And I can't imagine the parties that went on in that room before I got there. Anyway, I had 5 girls come up that night. And,
You
we had
kinda
our own
have
little
to.
party. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of terrifying,
It's a larva of a moth.
Yeah.
So it says, do you have a picture of that thing? See if it's the one I remember being Tijuana all those
I
years.
think
Sorry.
we all have that same image in our mind. It's kind of a shell.
I don't remember a shell. I remember like a small caterpillar is what I sort of
Larva is a great word for it. That's yeah.
it's a baby bug, baby.
I feel like
moth.
there be. No, that's not it. Is
Well, there are a few, like a lot of bottles do it. Like it's just one brand.
Is there a mezcal? Is there one called mezcal tequila? Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Gina.
All right. Well, speaking of terrifying things, this sounds funny, but once I show you the video, you'll get why they got theirs. 4 daycare workers at a facility in Mississippi have been fired and are facing possible jail time for this stupid prank where they put scream masks on and scare the little ones, like the toddlers.
You can't do that.
And I'm going to show you the video. It's actually heartbreaking because it kind of sounded funny, but it's not. A video inside the classroom shows the terrified children, estimated to be like 3 years old, frozen in fear, crying, screaming. The video went viral, and 4 women are now facing 3 counts of felony child abuse. Here's a clip from the daycare shown by Inside Edition.
Daycare workers scaring toddlers with a scream mask. The little ones shrieking and crying in utter terror. The mother of this
fucked
2-year-old
up.
girl
Yeah.
gave Inside Edition permission to show her face. It's heartbreaking.
I'd be in prison if they did that to my stepson.
Oh, you'd kill them.
Yeah.
Is that your camera, Adam?
Yeah, I was filming it from the stage at Wise Guys.
Nice.
But they're absolutely frozen
That's
with
not
fear.
right.
Okay, let me say this about scaring people and or practical jokes. They have to have some angle that is clever.
Right.
You can't just I can't
Terrorize.
just call Chris and then go, "Hey man, bad news. I was just driving up the street and I saw your car was totaled out in the street." And then go, "Just kidding."
Gotcha.
But that's not really a thing.
Yeah.
It's same with the jumping out, like, somebody's
Jump scares.
walking around the
Yes.
corner and at the house and boo, it's like,
Oh, man.
yeah, you got to have something a little more interesting.
I'm guilty for that. I remember when I was a kid, at my friend's house, he had an older sister, and we were down the stairs down by the basement door, and there was a little alcove there, and he had her go down there to get something, and I had a mask on or something, one of those hats that pulled over the eye holes, and she got down there. I
Ski
jumped out at
mask.
her. I jumped
you're a
jumped
big
at
guy.
her. I didn't touch her. I just go, "Rah, rah, rah," and she saw me, and she couldn't stop screaming. And it scared me. I took the hat off. I go, it's me. And she still couldn't stop screaming. I mean, that was
Mean.
I really felt bad after
She's
that.
absolutely still working on that in therapy.
The great
Traumatic.
Jimmy, when he terrorized
Oh.
Richard Cheese, I'll think of his name in a second, from K-Rock, you have to have an angle to terrorize people, to scare them.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
And we were sitting outside at Carney's Hot Dogs on Ventura Boulevard just after the morning show in 1995 or something, and some guy went by in a Honda De La Soul or something. It stinks
Nice
of
car.
car.
Fancy.
And I understand
Nice car.
cars. I study cars. And then he cut a guy off in a big Cadillac, and the guy was just riding the horn the whole time as they passed by us. And I look at him and I go, that's Richard Cheese. I know the guy's in that car. I go, Jimmy, that guy, the horn that's just honking, that's the guy.
I recognize that horn.
From K-Rock. I know the guy who cut him off. So, and Jimmy's like, okay, good enough. And then Jimmy called him, Mark Davis, as the guy in the Cadillac who he cut off. He's like, hey, motherfucker, I know where you live. In his scariest voice. You cut my shit off on Ventura Boulevard. You thought you're going to get away from me? I ain't done with you, bitch. And of course, he was locked in because who else could...
Yes.
There'd be no way.
There's no possible way that this is anybody but the guy who he cut off on Ventura Boulevard who rode the horn 40 minutes earlier.
Unless he had caller ID.
It could be nobody else. And then he terrorized him for the next 2 weeks.
Oh my God! Yeah.
He knew someone who worked for the DMV. He got his address. He's coming for him. It was awesome. It was awesome.
The worst is when you hurt somebody.
You know, his roommate was Lightning, the producer. And Jimmy was like, you cannot tell him. You fucking can't tell him it's me. But Lightning had to live with the guy. And every time Lightning came in, if he left the downstairs door deadbolt undone, he's like, lock the door, lock it. Who are you with? Who is it? He was living with an insane paranoid guy.
Yeah, you can't live like
so
that.
He had to rat him out. He lasted a week or two, but eventually he had to say something because Lightning was going insane, living with a guy staring out of the window the whole time.
Yeah, he lived in fear of that guy.
Yeah.
And no, he was in a position where he could really be scared. The roommate could just do all kinds of stuff. Did you hear something outside?
Yeah.
Did you lock the back door?
Oh, he was going. He was nuts, but again, things have to live in some world. Just jumping out with the ski mask, it's not.
No, it's I'm the same way. I don't like those slash movies where they jump out. I'd rather have the slow build, like The Exorcist,
The Shining, whatever.
The Shining.
I also just the music stab and then show the cat.
Yeah.
That's not creative to me. It
Called a
does
jump scare.
Yeah, it's a jump scare. It works. It also work if you have a VW bus and it backfires behind me. I will be scared. But that's not. That's not artistry.
Yeah.
It's not. You're
Here's
making
the
a
thing
film.
that scared me the most in my life, and I did it to myself. My buddy Bill had a van that he redid. He had it painted. It was sitting in his backyard, and I had some smoke bombs, and he loved that van so much, and I put 2 smoke bombs under the van near the engine, and I forgot that smoke bombs before they start smoking, they shoot out a flame like a torch, and I had it right under the engine. The oil and all that stuff. And I'd never done a better acting job because I ran up there. I ran to his house and said, Bill, your van's on fire. Your van's on fire. And he believed me, of course. And he went out there and he was, but I was never so scared because I thought the thing was going to blow up and it would have been my fault. I wouldn't have said anything, but it would have been my fault.
I had a friend who was an artist. His name was Carl. He painted like you.
Yeah.
And I angered him once because I put... Firecrackers were fun, but firecrackers in a lemon that was on the ground, much better.
I'd never heard of that.
Much better. Just take that lemon, shove that firecracker into it. He was living in a guest house in Studio City, and I took the lemon, the firecracker, and before I entered his guest house, I just lit it and rolled it in. And it blew up, but it shot pulp everywhere and ruined all his paintings.
Oh no, the paintings.
Yeah, it was like I was early money like those climate activists that threw the soup on the Van Gogh.
Yeah.
I did that with Carl's paintings.
Jesus.
What a dick.
What Carl could have been.
Yeah.
Well, when
If not for you and your goddamn lemons.
he did he paid me back because I was sitting doodling
Yeah.
in class shortly thereafter, and I wrote this note about we have it somewhere. I was just sitting bored in Spanish class, and I was like doodling, and I wrote some long-winded note about what I wanted to do to my prom date, which was all just insane, just sitting in class. And I gave it to him, and he read it to her.
Oh man.
And I said, that's the most humiliating thing. I want to drink the sweet nectar of her vagine. It's like, it was the most embarrassing. And he goes, yeah, well, you should have rolled a lemon into my
So you're
place
even.
and blow it up.
You
And I was
deserved
like,
it.
all right, I got it. All right, Kevin's got a heart out. Let's do half a more.
Oh, well, because we're talking about this stuff, we have to talk about this. And Brian, maybe you have some clarity, even though I know it's not your genre.
Please.
Terrifier 2. This movie, starring this horrible character, Art the Clown, this sequel, is apparently making people throw up, making people pass out in the theater. And the director, Damien Leone, is loving it. He's like, we were just hoping people would be scared, but this is fantastic. Now there's a warning that comes up. Viewers who are faint of heart, prone to lightheadedness, have weak stomachs, are advised to take extreme caution.
This is not new.
No,
but it's good.
But
This
because
goes back to William Castle. The films. There'll be EKG outside.
Yes,
There'll be a
but-
nurse stationed at the end of the aisle.
And that's what I thought. And absolutely, and I'm sure people make a big deal out of it, but apparently it's so grotesque. Just for grotesque, like horror porn.
I heard it
that
was-
people are being like.
I heard it was a
sick.
cheap film.
It's
too.
$250,000 to make. I'll show you 45 seconds of the trailer. Nothing really
All right.
happens in the trailer.
And I don't know what it is on Rotten Tomatoes, Chris. or
Terrifier
what it's,
2.
What it's
I've seen
made.
Hannibal Lecter force a man to drink his own brain.
That was the worst.
I've seen a woman
Yeah.
flayed alive. So I realize that whatever you could think of has been done worse.
Where do you live?
He's in Valley Village.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 87 with the people. 88 with the people, and
boy.
87 with the critics. So it's all right.
Here's so wait, let me just give you the premise. It's after being resurrected by a sinister entity, Art the Clown returns to the timid town of Miles County, where he targets a teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween night.
Environment. Yep. Speaking of surprises, kids, we have a very special guest with us today, all the way from Miles County. Please welcome Art the Clown.
Blowtorch, people running with blood, people on fire, chasing girls.
What is the key objectionable content? Do you know?
I've heard, I looked it up, and she's in a tank, someone has half a face, a sledgehammer. Okay, so I've heard one of the most objectionable parts is apparently a girl is hanging upside down with her legs open, and he saws her in half, starting at the vagina. People really didn't like that.
You always start at the forehead. You don't.
I've
It's
seen
like,
Bone Tomahawk.
this is the salad fork. This is the entree fork. Do not confuse the two. When you splay a woman, you start from the forehead and you move down. Just with a chainsaw, just the motion.
This is manners.
So much
well
more
known. It's
difficult.
well
would you saw a log from underneath the log,
That'd
or
be
would you
insane.
drop it on top? Let gravity do the work.
Yeah.
Right.
It's common knowledge. That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
There's victims' organs being pulled out. Somebody gets their brain yanked out, and people are upset.
You know,
Sounds like The Cell.
but I don't know. Whatever. I don't. First off, it's weird that there's a lot of people wear this genre just sort of out in the open. Like, I love this shit. I
know.
love this shit. Oh, I love pedophiles.
Have that?
I love misery. Like, I love seeing people being destroyed, in horrible, horrible ways. Like, and then it becomes a sort of weird badge of honor.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is my genre.
Faces of death.
Yeah, I'm like, aren't you sort of saying something about yourself where you go?
You're saying everything about
like
yourself.
I like seeing fellow humans destroyed with axes. That's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
This isn't, in porn, knock yourself out. You know what I mean? I like the Asians, or like the big booty, or like the big titties. Knock yourself out. But
You know
this
what I
is
like
a
to do?
genre where people are being put in wood chippers, and you enjoy it.
Here's what I like to do. I like to go to a hardware store and ask them if they have a shovel that will dig shallow graves. Just shallow graves. That's all I want.
Shallow shovel?
Shallow shovel.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah, Kevin's got a heart out, but
I got a
that's all right.
plane- I got a plane to catch.
We're bringing it home right now.
Let's do it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
In this house, love is welcome.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
All right. Last but not least, there's the Jordan Harbinger show. All right, Kevin, you're making a flight.
Yeah, I got to catch.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a lot of controversy about whether you landed and were coming here.
I landed and now I'm going.
Oh, you came in?
Yeah, I came
that's
for
a lot
this.
of crazy flying.
Thank
Love
you.
you, Kevin Nealon. Well, for that, you get a plug, my friend.
Great to see you.
I Exaggerate. My brushes with fame. It's available now as you hear this, or tomorrow as you hear this, or wherever you find finer books.
October 25th, Hiking with Kevin, October 27th.
Hiking with
YouTube.
Kevin. That's right, on YouTube as well. Very funny YouTube show. And live dates everywhere. Just, you can visit kevinnealon.com for the dates, and you can go to see us, Mic Drop Comedy, in San Diego, October 28th and 29th. Vegas coming up. Rialto Theater coming up in Tucson. Tempe coming up. Just go to adamcarolla.com for all that. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Gina Grad, Paul Bryan, and Kevin Nealon saying, Mahala.